You should get something that looks like this. Recent announcements. Well, after today, there'll be a recent announcement, but there's not one yet, right? We have this little side menu here. If you've used Canvas before, you're familiar with it. If not, you've used D2L in the past. It looks a little bit different, but it's pretty cool. Modules is what used to be called content in D2L. It lists all the files. And then there's assignments, which are the drop boxes where we're going to be uploading stuff. And then home just takes us back to the modules effectively. Then once we have some quizzes, there'll be some quizzes there. No quizzes yet. All right, y'all are saved. No quiz today. So if we go to modules and click on Spring Syllabus, but before we start talking about syllabus, syllabuses are boring. Let's go ahead and write a program. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the little magnifying glass. You know how to do all this stuff. If you're using your laptop, you can just watch, or you can go ahead and log on to the computer, you know, that's sitting in front of you, because you probably don't have Visual Studio installed yet. That's all right. You'll get the idea, because we're not going to spend too long on this point, and you're also going to get the idea behind the way that the class is going to be run. So generally what we do is I come up here and I lecture and I show PowerPoints, but also at the same time I'm writing some kind of program up here. What I would like is for y'all to type along with me. Now if you don't have Visual Studio installed, but you have some kind of other editor, you have a Python editor, you even have Notepad or something like that, just go ahead and type along with me, pretending that you do have the C++ development environment if you're using your laptop, right? And then, you know, pretty soon you'll have installed Visual Studio or some. Are there any Mac users in here? All right, you're not going to use Visual Studio. Instead, you're going to use Xcode. You're going to download Xcode. So I launched Visual Studio, or launch Notepad, right, or whatever you're going to use to write your little program. New project. The one we want is under Visual C++, Visual C++ empty project. And let's just call it Lecture A because it's the first day. Then we'll have a Lecture B and a Lecture C and so on. Everything else looks good. Click OK. I need to check something. Just uno momento. When this comes up, your screen should look something like this. Nothing in the middle, and on the left-hand side, unless it's moved somewhere else, you should have what's known as the Solution Explorer. What we're most interested in is the source files. Now, it's pretty easy for this to accidentally get closed. If it gets closed, you're going to choose View Solution Explorer, and it brings it back up. Now, just like you Java folks are used to having to create a new Java file, a Java class, well, we're going to right-click on here and do Add New Item. And we're just going to add a C++ file. We're not going to get fancy and add classes yet. We're just going to add a C++ file. And we could leave the file name source.cpp, but that's pretty boring, so I'm going to come down here and change the name source.cpp to lecture.cpp. So,
What did you click on?
let me show you. I right-clicked on Source Files. Add New Item.
Okay.
And I appreciate people who tell me to slow down. You've become my best friends, so tell me to slow down often. All right, now we have a file. Now, unlike maybe your Java course, if you took, you know, if you're used to using NetBeans or something like that, we get a blank slate here. Kind of intimidating. Eventually, we're going to create a boilerplate file that looks like this. So you can just copy and paste this template into it. But We're going to type it in by hand for the first time or the first few times. So it's okay that this isn't going to mean anything in particular, right? How could it mean anything in particular? We're not used to this stuff yet. We don't know what we're doing, but that's okay. I like to show y'all stuff before we start lecturing about it so that when we hit the lecture, it makes sense. All right, so we're going to do # include. Hashtag include. You can put a space there or not, doesn't matter. Angle less than IO stream. End angle. And we're going to add one more. # include angle string end angle. And by the way, I know I type at 120 words per minute. I know not everybody does. So like I said, slow me down if you need me to. Go slow. Alrighty. Now every program we write needs an entry point called main. It's different from Python where you just started writing code. You didn't have a main function. You could put one in there, but you don't need one. More like Java where you had to have a main method. But this isn't even a method, it's just a function. It's not part of a class, it's just a function. So int main, parentheses in parentheses. Now a lot of programmers put their braces on the same line as the function declaration. I put it on the next, which is called the block programming style. Doesn't matter, the program works the same way. Unlike Python, tabbing doesn't work, doesn't matter. You tab for clarity, but it's not essential. How many people have had Python? If none of you have, I'm going to stop saying, unlike Python. Hand wave? Okay. Since only one person's taken Python, I'm not going to keep saying two already. A couple of y'all. Anyways, so int main. We're going to print a message to the screen. std : cout arrow quote hello comma world exclamation mark \n double quote closing quote semicolon. All right, we've written our first program. We're ready to go make $1 million. Hi. I'm sorry, pardon me?
Can I sign into a computer? I don't know how to sign.
You don't know how to sign into the computer? Okay. All right, so if we run the program, there's always more than one way to do things, but the fastest way is just probably to go and whale on the green arrow there. It says build started, blah, 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 blah. Keeps showing messages down here. What it's doing is compiling the source code, linking the source code, and then running the executable. Well, it ran, but we didn't get to see the output. Now, that's not going to be a big deal for the Mac users, but for the Windows users, we're going to add a command here that's going to stop the program at this point. We're going to run a system command, system parentheses quote pause, end quote in parentheses semicolon. Now this is a system call. Macs don't have a pause command. Linux probably doesn't have a pause command, so that line's not going to work on those operating systems. On the other hand, I don't think they're necessary anyways because you're not using Visual Studio, you're using something else that doesn't cause a window to close as soon as it's done running. All right, hello world, press any key to continue. So what is the syntax error? Oh, I left off my semicolon, right? It runs, boom, it did not work. What you gotta do, if that's the case, is you scroll down here and you see this error list. If you don't see the error list, you go to View Error List, right? That'll show it or hide it. And you just double click on the top error. Quite often there's only one problem, but it'll report 20. And as soon as you fix the top one, the others go away. And what's it saying? Expected a semicolon. And then it's telling me even where it's supposed to go. Missing a semicolon before identifier system. All right, so if I click on that, it's telling me to put a semicolon before system. But that's, you don't want to do it there. The semicolon goes at the end of each line. That's better. Right, so we corrected the syntax error. Now we can run it. Build and run it. All right, so now we're going to upload this to our Dropbox. What are we going to do? Let me go back into student mode if I'm not. I am. Is you're going to click assignments. See a folder called Hello World and one called Install a C++ IDE and Run It. Well, that's your homework. But here's today's lecture. And I really want y'all to upload something every time you come to class or after every video you watch. We'll go into that more after the syllabus, but you get credit just for showing up in class and uploading something, even if all you upload is a note that says, wow, that was an interesting lecture, Prof. Right. I'd rather you type along, but I know that some people don't learn as well by typing along. So if you just want to watch the lecture, you can upload a note. You know, if you're typing in anything, go ahead and upload it. The program doesn't have to work. You're not going to get counted off. Just give me a file. So I clicked on that assignment folder. Click Submit Assignment. Choose a file. Well, gosh, where's my file? Okay, you'll get used to finding them. But for now, here's what I'm going to do. I want to go and find my file. If you're using Windows, here's how you're going to do it. If you're using Mac or something else, you're going to have to find it a different fashion, but I trust that you're capable of doing that. Go to your solution, right-click on it, the top line of your solution, and do Open Folder in File Explorer. Now you can see where it is. Right? C users, J.G. Thompson, source, repos, lecture A. Well, I don't see my file. I just see an SLN file. And by the way, if you don't see that extension, you need to enable extensions. I'm sorry the print is so tiny. If you don't see .sln when you're looking at that, then you're not seeing the extensions, and it's important to see the extensions because otherwise, how do you know if you're looking at a CPP file rather than an SLN? One is going to get you full credit, the other one's going to get you a 0. So how do you change that? Well, it's different for every version of Windows, but I believe if you go to View, oh gosh, where'd they hide it? Options, Change Folder and Search Options. Now your machine may already be configured correctly if you saw the extension, but if you don't, View, Options, Change Folder and Search Options. Click on the View option, and where it says Hide Extensions, make sure that's not selected. I think it's idiotic that Windows by default hides extensions because that's very useful information, right? You could have 7 files in the same directory with the same file names differing by extension, and you don't necessarily know which one is which without taking care. All right, so anyways, I made sure that that's not selected. Apply, OK. And when I did that business about right-clicking on solution, open folder in File Explorer, we're going to need to dip in to the source code directory, which has the same name as the project. That's kind of odd, but it's all right. And there we see it. That's the one that I want. Eventually, I may ask for more than that, but for now, we're just going to be creating single CPP files, and so that's all you have to give me. On the other hand, if you like giving me the entire zipped folder directory, you can do that by going up the directory tree, finding lecture A. Now this is going to get, I'm going to have to delete all these old ones from the last class, right? Because that's going to confuse the heck out of me. Yeah, all right. Anyways, you can go to the top, the root, you know, by hitting up arrow a couple of times. You can right-click on a folder, and we'll do this again. It's not like you have to have this all memorized the very first time. And then do send to compressed folder. Now, at this point, I just want the CPP file. So if you're zipping up the whole thing, then you're going to a little bit of effort. On the other hand, if you're going to be opening this project again from another computer, right? If you have a home computer and then you have a school computer and you want to be able to change the files, this is the best way to do it. Anyways, okay, so you right click on it, you choose compressed folder, and then you get an error message. Well, I wonder if it's there anyways. No, okay, fine, forget it. That didn't work. Sorry, gang, they've locked down the security on these Windows 10 installs a little bit too much. So if you have multiple files in your source code directory, then you can just click them all. But the one that I really want is the CPP file. All right, so how do we get that into Canvas? Add another file, choose file, find that directory. Well, I wish it would just do some drag and drop, like D2L did. I don't think drag and drop works, unfortunately, here. I'm going to give it a quick little shot. I'm not expecting it to work. No. All right, so you just got to go and find that file. So I got to remember where it was. You'll get used to finding it, but it's in my users, my name, source, repos, lecture A directory. Now I'm going to try to move my Visual Studio directory to somewhere else so that I can actually do zips, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay, so anyways, let's see if I can find it. Choose file. Visual Studio 27, I clicked on Documents, Visual Studio 2017. Did I go to the wrong place? Yeah, for Pete's sake. Easiest way is just to copy that URL path by highlighting the whole thing, right-clicking, and going back into it. Okay, J.G. Thompson source. It's supposed to be off the Documents directory, so I am going to wind up moving my default Visual Studio folder, but not yet. So, alrighty, C:\users, or you could just copy that CPP file and paste it like into a folder off the desktop. That probably would have been easiest. J.G. Thompson, source, repos, lecture A, and then find the CPP file and click open. Put a comment here if you need to, right? First program, right? I'm going to also ask for y'all to upload screenshots when you do this at home. Not for your computers, not for your lectures. That just is a little bit of extra waste of time. But when you're doing this stuff at home, I'm going to want you to add a screenshot. But for now, I'm going to just click Submit Assignment. Then I'll go back and add a screenshot. All right. So, anybody having trouble locating that CPP file? I talked about it for 20 minutes, and I bet some of y'all got it done in the first 2 seconds. I think I just knocked something over. I'm sorry. So, add another file, or click Browse. Oh, you found an executable. It's probably going to complain about that executable. I would see if there's a way to delete that file. Click Cancel. Upload file. Choose a file. Okay, I'm going to click Browse. And then go to C:\users, find the users directory. And I'm not absolutely convinced it's going to be in the same place. If you go over here, solution, right click and do open folder, let's find the path. So click on, just click up on the title bar, right? Users, DES. Okay, so you can find it now. Users, go back to, yeah. C:, find your user directory. That's what it's just to type U, and I'll jump right to it. Well, forget it. Scroll down my hand. Okay, we're somewhere weird. I'm C:. All right. source directory. This really should be easier. I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier. Source, repos, sure. Okay. We don't want the SLN, we want the CPP, so you can double click there and you're going to find the CPP. There you go. Click that, click open, click submit assignment. Right. Who else? Okay, you're going to right click on solution project 1 to open other file explorer. You can see this path. Okay. Click on the path and you'll actually see which path. See, use, hold up. You could, yeah, that'll actually do the trick. So then go back and change the time. So if you don't have to put on the okay, you don't have anything done with it. But I'm going to stay for the second. Okay. All right. Sure. Anybody else? Okay. There's a couple of things I want to do to make this a little bit easier. Is the next time I create a program, I'm going to click File, Close Solution. I should have closed the solution even before I tried to upload it, but it was so convenient to be able to come to Solution Explorer. Do File, New Project. This is just going to be for future reference. I'm not going to actually do it this time. And when I make my lecture B next time, I'm going to click Browse, and I'm going to click somewhere more intelligent to save it. Right? I'm going to click Browse. I'm going to choose the Documents directory. Make a Visual Studio folder if there's not one already there, and select that. Then I'm going to be a lot happier because it's going to be easier for me to find, right? So that's what I'm going to do next time. I don't know if there's a way. There's probably a way to make that a permanent change, or maybe it'll maintain, maybe it'll be sticky between sessions, not sure. All right, so screenshot. I don't care if you actually have it running, but when you're doing your homework, here's what I want you to do. And even if you don't have the program done yet, go ahead and do this part. Right. When you want to edit your CPP file, you can't just go open file or go and double click on the CPP file and have it work. Yeah, that brings it up, but I can't run it. There's no debugger button. There's something called attach, but that's not going to do the trick. I need to open the project itself, or I need to create a new project and copy and paste into it. And that's annoying, but it's just a fact. So instead, what I want to do is do File, Open, Project, find Lecture A, or even better, if it's still available, open Recent Project and Solutions, Lecture A. Now, why did I bring it back? Because I want to run it again. Go ahead and run your program if you still have it open. If not, just take a picture of whatever's on your screen. You're going to want to hit the print screen button. Where's the print screen button? It's near the numlock key. It's near the numeric keypad up in the far right corner. You'll be able to find it. It says print screen, PRNTSCN, near a pause and a scroll lock key, which nobody ever uses. So you click print screen. That copies a picture of the screen, and you Mac users are going to do something else. You can Google up how to do a print screen if you on a Mac if you don't know how to do it. I mean a screenshot. Now I need to paste it. I need to paste it either into a Word doc or a Paint document, something like that. And again, it's different for the Mac users. When you take a screenshot, it probably appears on your desktop. So I'm going to launch Paint. So I'm going to click on the magnifying glass, type Paint. And just because this is taking a long time while we talk it through the first time, it's going to be at the point where you can do this, in 2 minutes. Yeah, after a couple of tries. So I click Paint, and I need to paste. I can do paste like that. I love command shortcuts, so I'm going to hit Control V. which of course the Mac users would do is Command V, but the Mac users aren't going to be pasting into the Paint application. And there we go. I have a screenshot of my program running. I don't care if you trim it, if you crop it, whatever. Just take a picture of it running. You don't have to turn in 20 screenshots, right? Just prove that the program was running on your machine so that when I run it, if I can't get it to run, then I can go, well, I wonder why it's not doing the same thing for me as it's doing for you, right? And I have some confidence that it was working for you. All right, now I'm going to save this. So File, Save As, Lecture A. And by the way, some of y'all called your programs Lecture 1 because you didn't like using letters. That's totally okay. I just distinguish between my lectures and my homework by letters and numbers. All the lectures have letters. I mean, lectures have letters, homework have numbers. So if you feel like following my lead, that's fine. You can name them anything you want to. Okay, so I'm going to make a directory right off my desktop for all my screenshots and stuff, and so I've already done that. I would do that if I was you. But anyways, just save your screenshot somewhere where you can upload it. Now let's go back into Canvas and upload that as well. Resubmit assignment. Choose file. Go to wherever you saved your screenshot. Save it as a PNG or a JPEG or whatever you want, or if you paste it into a Word doc, you can upload it like that. Submit assignment. All right. Now I should have two files in my assignments folder. Right? There we go. No, it's only showing me the last file. I'm extraordinarily unhappy about that. It kept the comment. Submission details. There's my PNG. Yeah, it erased the file. It erased the CPP file. Now that's okay just for today, but I'm not digging it because, right, I'm going to be asking you to do homework and I want you to give me the CPP files and the screenshots and stuff like that. It's a real drag if it erases your prior submission. It's real important for it not to do that. Why do I say that? Because if you write a program and it doesn't work and you don't get full credit for it, I usually offer you the chance to rewrite it, to revise it, and upload it for more credit, right? And you want that. I want you to be able to do that. You learn more from it. But if it erases the old one every time you upload something new, I'm going to have to talk to the system administrators, find out how to make it do that. All right, so I erased my program, but that's okay for today. All right, anyways. That's about enough of that. We've written our first program unless you didn't. And we'll hang out after class and get you going if you were starting late. So we're going to talk about the syllabus now. Now, whenever you click on something in one of these learning management systems and it shows you a preview, for certain document types, the preview is great. But I always recommend going ahead and downloading it to view it in whatever application is installed, especially for PowerPoints. For a Word doc, clicking full screen is good enough, but I'm going to download it anyway, so I just click on the download option, save it. You don't have to do this unless you'd want to download it and view it on your home machine while I'm talking. Feel free. I'm doing this in case I feel like making any changes to it. Alrighty. Introductory course in developing both procedural and object-oriented logic. Well, we may not know what procedural and object-oriented logic are. We will after we're done with the course. For problem solving using C++, which is an industry standard language, very, very common industry standard language. You can be pretty sure that your PlayStation and Visual Studio games are probably written using C++. Now, is it the only language? No, of course not. utilizing several program development tools and techniques. We will present the core concepts of writing computer programs, loops, variables, decisions, functions, classes. If you've used any programming, if you've programmed any at all, then some of these terms are going to seem familiar. While learning to use Microsoft Visual Studio development environment, that's just what we use in class. You feel like bringing your Mac and using Xcode instead, that's fine. Course information. Well, it certainly is not Tuesday, Thursday. That's a mistake. How about we do Monday, Wednesday? And it's not at 7:05, I believe it's 7:15. Kind of weird how over the summer they changed the times a little bit. I hope I don't have any other mistakes in here. Let's keep going. Office hours, it says see Canvas, but actually they are just by appointment. Right now our offices are being revised and we don't even have offices in effect. So, I'm happy to meet with you. Just probably wouldn't be in my office for the next week or so. Here's my phone number. Now, the phone number ought to be important to you. I know some people are reluctant to contact the professor. I beg you to contact me. Don't make me grovel. I want you to contact me so badly that what I'm going to do is I'm going to have y'all send me a text right away. So grab your messaging device of choice. Your phone, your tablet, your watch, your microwave. And send me a text, please, at 405-898-7767. Put your class number, 1173, followed by your name, right? Don't put Tony Stark, unless that actually happens to be your name. The reason why I want your number is kind of twofold. One is I really want to encourage you to contact me when you're stuck. You're working on your program. You're frustrated. You've worked on it for an hour. Send me a text message asking for help. Take a picture of your source code. Text me the message. I'll probably be able to go, oh, it's line 73. All you need is the, you need to add the plus sign there, or the semicolon's gone, or, you misspelled a variable. Something like that. Quite often it's easy. Sometimes it's not so easy, but, if I'm looking at your code with you, then we can work together on it. And don't worry, I'm up late at night. I also know how to mute my phone, so you're not going to wake me up. There's really no reason not to contact me if you're stuck on a program. Now, we may need to get together and work on it, right? It may be something that's not easy to solve over phone. But you have my number now. Save it as a contact. Take advantage of it. The other reason is, what if there's bad weather coming and I know that class is, is being canceled or something like that. I'll send you a text message. Now, you probably are already enrolled in the ROSE Emergency Notification Service system. If not, you ought to be. I forget how you do it. It's probably pretty easy. rose.edu emergency notifications. Text alerts. You can subscribe. All I did is I Googled rose.edu emergency text alerts. It took me to this page. You can fill out, here's your name, your last name, and put in your phone number and your email address, and you'll get email and you'll get a text message every time the campus is closed, which is useful, right? It's still bad weather season, so it's still possible that campus will be closed. Or, what if I get a flat tire on the way here and I'm going to be delayed 20 minutes? You'd like to know that, and I can text you all, right? Let you know that. Or if something's weird about your program, I can send you a text, and ask you, give you some hints or something like that. So two-way communication is good. Typically, I find that the people who communicate with me more often are the people who excel at the class. So please feel free to. Don't be shy. You may have some cultural reservations about, bothering the all-important professor. Well, I'm not all-important. You are all-important. You're the paying customer, right? So make me do some work. Contact me when you need me. All right, now I'm going to check my messages, and if I don't have 12 phone numbers, yeah, we got quite a few of them. Maybe not everybody sent me one, but, a goodly portion of y'all did. Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Here's my campus email. You may be aware that you have a email address of your own, except it's at raider.rose.edu, right? It's just a Google account, so you can, add that to your phone or whatever. You can get to it by Gmail, or I think you can get to it by raider.rose.edu. If you send me email at raider.rose.edu, JG Thompson, it'll get to me. It'll be forwarded. All right, textbook. We need this textbook. Now, if you've used C-Engage and MindTap, this is not a C-Engage MindTap book. Don't have to sweat that. You can get it either as a Kindle book or as a physical book. Physical books I would get if you think that you're going to need to take the exam at the library. Now, I do give you time to take the exam in class, but they don't let you use Kindles at the library, right, or tablets or anything like that. So I love Kindle books. It's easy to search and stuff like that. Just got kind of weigh, how you think you're going to need to use it. You do need a home computer or laptop capable of supporting a C++ development environment. Now, I've had people try to take these kind of courses using Chromebooks, for example, and I really strongly recommend that you use an actual honest full desktop or laptop computer. We'll use Microsoft Visual Studio C++ in class. For the Xcode users on the Mac, I can give you some help, but you're going to also be doing a lot of research on your own, right? Just Google up, Hello World Macintosh Xcode C++, and you'll find a tutorial taking you through it. I'll give you my document as well. So, objectives. Recognize and identify the basic vocabulary and concepts of the C++ language. The basic structure and parts of C++ language computer program. Demonstrate a working knowledge by writing, compiling, debugging, and executing programs. Demonstrate a working knowledge of object-oriented design. We're not going to do as much object-oriented stuff in here as you will do if you take Java. I strongly recommend you take Java because becoming an object-oriented programmer is really advantageous to you. It's just that we're starting, from one point here, and we're not going to be able to go all the way to the end, right? Whereas Java is broken up into two entirely separate courses, right? Beginners and advanced, and you start off from day one using object-oriented programming. And so it's a different, different skill set. We will do some object-oriented programming, but from Java, you start using object-oriented programming from day one. And if you're going to become a professional programmer, strongly recommend you do that. Okay, so you do need a computer. However, there's a lab right next door to us, right? Computers are open. You can come in and do them. Use your stuff there. Visual Studio. If you get totally stuck, you just flat out can't get to a computer, you can't install Visual Studio, you can always do online C++ compiler. Google that up. Just pick one pick a name at random. I could try to recommend one for you, but it comes up with some boilerplate, and then you could modify it, right? This looks real similar to the one that we did. It just has a couple of differences. Ours had an extra include, and it didn't have that line, and ours had a system call. You would leave the system call out, but it's the same thing, right? You could run that, then you could copy and paste this into a Word document. You could take a screenshot, right? So you can do this stuff without Visual Studio, at least simple programs. It's better to have the full-fledged development environment, Visual Studio or Xcode. Eclipse if you're a Linux user. There's all sorts of C++ development environments. Linux users might want NetBeans, they might want code blocks, Eclipse. I'm not a big Linux user, so I can't really recommend anything beyond Eclipse. Website. We don't use Brightspace, we use Canvas. I don't know why I capitalized everything. Well, I can tell you why. It's because I did a search and replace. All of our homework assignments, exams, lecture notes, and grades will be posted there. Email. Everybody has an email address. I should have linked you to the site that tells you how to get it, Your email address is your first name dash last name, something like that. I definitely need to add the link to that. I'll just paste that in, and I'm going to update this. For help with email, go to that. Important dates. We're here on the first day. Our last day is the final exam. Well, why does that look funny? All right. Okay. That was odd. Anyways, July 29, Monday, 7:30 p.m. is our final. Important dates include, if you're feeling really uncertain about taking the course, I don't want you to drop it, but if you got to drop it and you want a full refund, you better do it by next Monday. Otherwise, you know, you can wait until 3/4 of the way through the class and then drop it, right? Grading system's pretty boring. 90%'s an A, 80%'s a B, so what? But I'm not a total jerk. If you get like an 89, I'm probably going to round you up to an A, right? I like giving out A's. As long as you've been doing the work, right? You do the work, I want you to get a good grade. The way the grades are broken up is 1/3 of your grade is based on exams and quizzes. And I think I mentioned, maybe not, that on your quizzes, you can take them over and over and over until you get a perfect grade on them. It's not just one time, right? That helps, right? Because quizzes count, you know, count for points, help you. And the exams are based in part on the quiz questions, so it, you know, pumps you up, builds you up to take the exam. Also, the in-class assignments. You come to class, you type in along with me, you upload a file at the end of the lecture, or you know, you just upload a note that says, you know, you were here. Or if you miss the lecture, you watch the video and you fill out a lecture review form and upload it. Or upload, you know, the program that you type in. That's another 1/3 of your grade. That's like gravy. That's like easy points, right? You show up, you type along, right? Why do I do that? Because I really want you to learn it, and a lot of people do learn well by typing along. If you do not learn well by typing, you're free to sit back and watch, right? You just got to pick the learning style that's best for you. And then your homework. Another 1/3 of the grade is based on homework. There is one little caveat, which is that you have to complete at least half the homework in order to get a passing grade. Now, if you somehow manage to come to class every day, aced every quiz, every exam, you had a 66%, and you thought that maybe by doing 2 homework assignments you'd make, you know, an 80, a 70%, make a C in a class. No, you have to do at least half the homework. So if there are 12 homework assignments, you have to at least do 6 of them to, you know, pass the course. Just because this is a programming course, and you have to prove that you know how to do it. So submitting homework, I want you to give me a screenshot of the code and give me the CPP file and the screenshot. And I guess we may have to, you know, modify our little tactics so that you, you know, you upload them both at the same time if it's going to be so rude as to erase it. But you could do that, right? You take a screenshot and then you choose the CPP file and you choose the screenshot and you upload them both at the same time. There's a comments field. When you're uploading, use that comments field to say if you think the program is not working correctly, right? I don't want to be surprised, right? If your program's not working correctly, let me know in advance. I'm going to be more generous with awarding partial credit if you let me know in advance, rather than if you just submit it and it's a surprise and I have to, you know, find out that it's broken. So use that comment field. Or if it's late, you know, you had to go to Arizona, whatever, you know, you put a comment there explaining why it's late. It's even better to tell me in advance. Please tell me in advance if you can. So grading policy. The program does have to run, or you're not going to get any credit. Or you're certainly not going to get much credit. What does run mean? Run means that it has to run. It has to compile and run. And if there's a syntax error, it's not going to, right? If I ran it, we saw that already, right? You know, go ahead and upload it. If you just flat out can't get it to run, go ahead and upload it. You know, make the deadline. We have something you and I can work on together, but you're not going to get credit for it until you actually turn in a working version. That's one of the reasons why I let you keep working on stuff past the end of the deadline. I can look at it, I can give you hints, and you can, you know, but don't try to sneak it in. Put a comment in there as you upload it. It's not working right now. Help, that kind of thing. Better yet, be texting me. If you do not submit a screenshot, you will get partial credit at best. I might be generous the first few times, but after that, right? If you cannot get your program to meet the requirements of the assignment. It compiles, it runs, it doesn't have any syntax errors, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do, right? It doesn't calculate the Fahrenheit temperature or whatever. Go ahead and submit it. Add in the comments field what is not working, and I'll give you partial credit. If you receive partial credit, then you can revise and resubmit it to get more credit. Programming assignments are generally due 1 week, right? So if I give you a homework assignment tonight, which I'm going to do, then it needs to be turned in by midnight of next week, of Sunday, right? So that you can turn it in by Monday. Now I'll give you a day's credit leeway, right? You know, if you turn it in Monday rather than Sunday at midnight, I'm not going to count you off for that. I'll never give you less than a week to work on something. I'm never going to tell you Monday night, oh, I want y'all to do this by Wednesday. That's uncool. So late assignment policies. Up to 7 days late, it's 10% off. The next week is 20% off. The next week off is 30% off. If it's more than 4 weeks late, you're not going to get any credit. But please keep up, guys. Now, in-class assignments, watching the lectures don't follow the same scale. But you're going to have to watch the lecture before you do the homework, right? So you're going to want to hop right on it. So it's either all or nothing. If you get that lecture watched within a month, you're going to get full credit. Now, this is only a 2-month class, so don't put things off like that. Penalties for late assignments might be waived if you talk about it with me, right? Let me know why it's late, preferably before the due date. Looks like I have a typo there. The quizzes must be submitted by the due date. But that's just so that I can grade them and then you can have another shot at them, right? And yeah, if you miss the first due date, then you can take it again, you know, but the more shots you have at it, the better. So try to keep up with the quizzes. Attendance. I will take attendance, although I forgot. We'll crank it up and get it going in a minute. You don't have to be here. I strongly recommend that you come to class, but if you can't come and you know your work schedule is going to be, you know, wacky for the first couple of weeks or whatever, and there's going to be a couple times you miss, that's okay. Just watch the lectures. But here's what happens sometimes. People get in the habit of missing, right? You miss a class because you were sick. You watch the lecture. You think, hey, that's pretty cool. You blow off another class, and maybe you blow off watching the lecture too, and then after that, you really start falling behind. Better off to come as often as possible. But if you miss classes, it's okay. Everybody gets sick. Everybody has emergencies. I totally understand that. So there's no deduction. The only deduction is if you don't watch the video and then you don't upload anything, then you don't get credit for that day. Attendance in AW. You have to attend class or participate in the first week of it, or the first 2 weeks if it's a 16-week semester, or else you get dropped from the class. Not my policy. It's campus policy. Not just his campus policy, it's common across, you know, colleges all across the U.S. And you get an AW recorded on your transcript. Why? Because back in the old days, people would run a scam where they'd apply to a grant to go to school, and then they wouldn't go to school. They just use that money, right? And then they'd apply for a grant, you know, to go to school in Louisiana, right? And get money for that and not go that well. Nowadays, you know, that doesn't work anymore. Everything is tied together. Okay, so your responsibilities. You need to have access to the internet and to the C development tools. Check the Canvas updates. Do y'all get email notifications when something is posted to Canvas? D2L did that. I guess we'll find out. I'll post an announcement and somebody can check their email and tell me whether you get a notification of it. Okay. So do attend class, do watch the videos for missed lectures. Please use your textbook. You paid money for it, you may as well use it. Keep up with the schedule. If you're falling behind, talk to me about it. Don't wait until the last week of class and then try to catch up on a month's worth of work, please. Complete your assignments on time. Communicate with the professor about problems. Ask for help when needed, and I honestly mean that. Some of y'all have had me for other classes. I think those people would vouch that I'm easy to work with, right? Right, Lindy? Yeah. All right. Okay. See, I bribed her with pizza. That's why she said that. But, okay. So please feel free to bring your laptop. However, do silence all your devices. Don't just let them buzz, buzz, buzz as people send you text messages. If you're going to do that, stick it in your pocket so nobody else can hear it. I've had complaints when people take their phone and they put it on the desk and then it starts buzzing. And then the people sitting around you start really getting ticked at you. Maybe you don't know that they are, but they are. And then they complain to me and I have to tell you not to do that. Don't put anything on your screen that's more interesting than I am, right? So don't load up, Twitch streams or watch YouTube or, anything like that on your computer during class. Because if it's interesting to you, it's probably interesting to the people behind you, and it's distracting them, and I get jealous, right? Eyes on me. But when I'm typing along, you kind of have to follow along. All right. Obviously, no smoking or vaping. Do check Canvas regularly. If I modify the syllabus, I post a notice about it, and I won't talk about it in class. However, the likelihood of me modifying the syllabus is pretty small, but it's not going to be a mystery change, right? Like if I tell you that all of a sudden there's only going to be one exam, and if you fail it, then you fail the class. That's a pretty important change. It should go in the syllabus. I'm not going to just edit the syllabus, not let you know about it. So it'll go into an an announcement, and I'll tell you. I try to answer emails within 24 hours. Feel free to text me and tell me you sent an email. That sounds silly, right? But I carry the phone around in my pocket, and I don't have my phone configured to buzz my pocket every single time that I get an email. But it certainly does for every text message. So if you're waiting for an answer, go ahead and text me. Say, hey, I sent email. You could be polite about it. You don't have to call me names. But I'll go to email and I'll answer it. Or maybe it's something that we can communicate by text and get solved. So communication by text usually get responses more quickly. I don't always check my email promptly over the weekend, so that's another good reason to text me. I won't write your programs for you, but I will look at what you've written and offer suggestions. I need to check to make sure that the tutor, the division tutor, is here over the summer because he's an awesome guy. He could teach the course. He's that good. So I have all sorts of expectations of you. You need to have some expectations of me. I better be giving you clear instructions for the assignments. If you're looking at the assignment and it doesn't make any sense, it's probably my fault. I have failed you, right? I've brought shame to my ancestors. So you need to let me know it doesn't make sense. And don't wait until it's due to let me know it didn't make any sense. Because if it doesn't make any sense to you, it probably doesn't make sense for somebody else. And then I'll need to talk about it and I'll need to extend the due date. What if you can't even find the homework instructions? Well, that's pretty important. Let me know that. Again, I'll extend the due date. It's not fair for me to find the instructions and upload them on Saturday and expect you to have it done by Sunday midnight. You should be able to depend on me to answer your questions. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, whether you pose them in person, email, phone, or text. I will grade your assignments and give feedback for work that needs to be corrected. I'll give a week's notice of due assignments, 2 weeks notice of exams. That's not going to be hard because we only have 2 exams. We already know the date of the final. And I will post all assignments, notices, PowerPoints, and reading assignments on Canvas. So regarding the quizzes are open book, open PowerPoint, open to taking them over and over and over. The exams are open book, open PowerPoint, open notes, but they're not open to taking them over and over and over. For some reason, some students get the mindset that since I make the quizzes like that, they're going to be able to take, the final 7 times to get a perfect grade on it. No, but you're going to do pretty good on the final, I promise, as long as you're doing the class, doing all the homework. All righty, academic integrity. Here, I'm going to shorten this. All righty. There, we good to go? Yeah, okay, we got to talk about it a little bit more just because it actually happens. You'd be surprised at how often it happens, and it's a big pain because paperwork has to be filed, and consultations have to happen, and stuff like that. What is academic integrity? How could you cheat in this class? Here, I'll tell you how to cheat in this class. I give you a programming assignment, and you Google up how to do it, and you turn in what you find on the internet. Right? I tell you to write a Caesar cipher or a tic-tac-toe program. Yeah, there's 8 billion of them on the internet. You can Google them and turn them in. Don't do that. I'm going to be able to tell it's not your work. It's not going to be done in any programming style that I teach in class. It's probably written by some professional programmer with 20 years of experience, right? Or PhD student or something like that. So yes, you can look stuff up on the internet, but it's just like writing a term paper, right? You can't copy a book and upload it as your own thing, right? You have to make it your own. You have to change it. You have to incorporate it into your own program. So that's one thing you're not going to do. Another thing you're not going to do is to ask somebody for help and then submit their code, right? I might get stuck. I'll go, Justin, I'm stuck, man. Can I look at your code? Could you just email it to me? I'm stuck in this one part. Now I'm lying. I haven't even started it. I'm asking you for it so that I can turn it into my own. If I'm really a jerk, I won't even change the name up at the top of the program. I've had people do that, right? Submit somebody else's work, not even change the name up at the top of the program, and then I have to get poor Justin that as well as fail myself for cheating, right? Yeah. Yeah. So you're not going to do that. You're not going to give somebody your work. Now, some limited working together is okay a little bit. You know, if you get to class early and you're stuck on something and you all want to help each other and look and go, okay, you know, well, you just forgot your print statements, or here's how you open a file and write to it. You know, some limited work like that is okay. But you have to write your own programs. Definitely have to write your own programs. If the programs look too similar, then I may ask you to sit down and write it out by hand in front of me, right? Or if it looks like you copied it off the internet, I may ask you to sit down and write it by hand. And if you get even 70% close, I mean, that would be hard for me, right, to sit down and just write a program by hand. But I can tell as you do it, right, that you're kind of close. You don't want to go through the embarrassment of having me, you know, do that, and you certainly don't want to suffer the consequences. Let's talk about the consequences. One is that you will get a 0 on the assignment or a 0 on the exam. The exam would really hurt your grade. How can you cheat on the exam? It's open book. Well, yeah, but you could open Gmail and start trading messages back and forth with each other, hoping that I'm not going to walk by and notice. Why do I mention that? Because people have done it. You could open up your phone, you can take pictures of your screen and send it to your kid who's, you know, a whiz kid. People do. Don't. Anyways, if it happens, a report will be filed with the division dean, with the director of student conduct. You might be put on academic probation. You might be expelled from the class. You'll certainly at least make a 0 on the assignment. You'll get, you know, a permanent record of academic dishonesty. There's no one strike. You know, you can't come and talk to me and tell me that, you know, work was really hard and you just didn't know what to do. And so, right. Sorry to be a jerk about it, but it just happens too often, and it's not fair to the people who put in their own time on it. Free personal counseling. If you're at the point where you need to cheat, instead go talk to the counselors. Talk to me about that, right? And if you're stuck, I'll help you. But counseling services. Something's going on in your life that's making it difficult for you to succeed, right? Trauma, grief, you know, substance abuse, you know, discord in your family, anything like that. It's confidential and it's free, right? What could go wrong? Plus, they're cool people. I've talked to them before. So, strongly recommend. If you need it, go talk to them. Americans with Disability Act accommodation. If you have needs above and beyond, right? If the class is seeming to be, you know, a little too difficult because, you know, you have reading problems or something's going on, then go and talk to those guys. And they will help you fill out the paperwork to let me know what you need. Like what? Well, maybe you need extra time to get homework done. Maybe you need extra time to get an exam done, right? Maybe you need permission to sit in the front row and videotape me. I don't care. Point a camera at me. Doesn't matter, right? Whatever you need. Paperwork gets filled out, it gets passed to me, and I'll work with you on it. No shame on that. Go and talk to them. Get the you know, the support you need. Mental health. Mental health concerns. This looks like a rehash of this one. It looks like a repeat of this one. It is. About the free counseling. Student Success Center. Now, I just Googled up the Student Success Center, and they did not have any summer sessions set up yet. But what is it? If we go and Google up, I should put a link to it. Rose.edu, Student Success Center. Study skills assistance, connect with campus support resources, assess learning styles, provide academic advisement, right? And then there's all sorts of, you know, workshops. Now, unfortunately, they haven't posted any over the summer. I don't know if that's because they don't have any, but, you know, you can just drop by and find out, right, what they have available to them. There's several, you know, counselors there who can work with you. If stuff's free, you may as well take advantage of it. You're paying to come to school here. These guys are taking money from the fees that you pay. They are your employees. Make them work for you. Electronic communication, everybody has email. The bookstore URL, I always just Google up rose.edu bookstore, right? Student handbook, if you control click on that link, it takes you to the student handbook. It's worth reading, even though it's 200 pages long, right? Browse through it, find out, what is in it, and then go back and read the sections that you really care about, right? We're getting close to the end. Don't get too bored. If you're having trouble accessing email, you can call the IT help desk. Now, if you can't get on Canvas to read this at all, then you're not going to be able to find the IT help desk support. You might want to plug it into your phone so that it's easy to get a hold of. If you're having trouble with Canvas, well, these people will direct you to Canvas support. It's a separate team, right? You call them. The Canvas help desk, the way it's worked in the past, I think, is that you give them your phone number and your email address and you write up the problem and they get back to you, usually within minutes. They're shockingly fast. All right, these dates are not wrong. I already had, dates posted up early in the document. They're not gone. All right, are there any questions? Sorry that we had to do all the boring stuff. The rest of the class is going to be that boring. Hopefully you will walk away convinced that programming is kind of fun. That's my goal. If you think programming is fun, then you're going to do it more. You're going to become, better at it. If you only write code for homework assignments and then you never touch it again, you will learn that these skills that you learned and the knowledge you gain kind of fade. You kind of need to exercise it, right? And that's why you have like a capstone and stuff like that. If, you may wind up programming again, but the more enjoyment you get out of it, the more it clicks with you, the more you do it on your own. Employers would rather see somebody who, who's learned stuff on their own than somebody who has a degree, to be honest. But you get the degree, it proves that you have discipline, right? Because it takes discipline to get a degree. But if you also, are learning how to program on your own on the side, you're doing your own projects and you're curious and stuff like that, then it shows that you not only have the discipline, but you have a curiosity and aptitude. So, lecture done. Are there any questions?
It doesn't matter what year for the Visual Studio that we download.
Yeah. Whichever version works. I need to install it again because every so often they change it a little bit. For a while you had to have an installation key and they gave you that number, and now instead you have to have a Microsoft account. So when you register it, it wants you to create a Microsoft account if you don't have one. However, that's free. You just give them your email address and it sets up a Microsoft account. I'll work through it so that I can help you all with that. So your homework is just to download a C++ development environment. I recommend Visual Studio because that's what we're going to be using in class, except for the Mac users, unless you're going to be running parallels and installing Windows on your Mac, and I don't know why you'd want to do that unless you absolutely had to. So that's what your homework assignment is going to be, is to either install C++ and run the Hello World program, take a screenshot of it and submit it, or upload a document explaining how in the world you're going to do your homework without having, C++ at home. You might be planning on doing all your homework on Canvas, and that's fine. I don't care. Or you're going to do it online, with the online C++ compiler that I showed you. Yeah, you could say that, but do one or the other, right? Either install it, take a snapshot of it running Hello World, or upload a note saying how you're going to do it without having done that. Are we all good? Yes, sir.
Are user folder on the C drive, is that accessible from any of the computers?
Unfortunately, it's specific to this. I strongly recommend getting a flash drive and backing stuff up to it, because if that computer dies, you lose all your work. On the other hand, since we're uploading our files at the end of the lecture, at least every time, at least we have recourse for you to go and download that file again and get it to. But very good point. These the C drives are not shared amongst the computers, unfortunately. Wish they were. I don't know if we have network drives available to us anymore, like if you have your own U drive or something like that. It'd be cool if you did. I'll ask about that. I don't believe that's the case anymore. Does anybody know that? You've heard you've got network space available to you? No. I wish, since we all had Gmail, accounts, They would set up the computers to support, Google Drive directly. But I guess you might have, 8 billion gigabytes of stuff in your Google Drive that they wouldn't want copied, to these machines. All right. Any other questions? Nope. All righty. So your homework, you're going to go to assignments. You're going to find la-di-da-di-da-di-da, installs C++ and run it. Well, there should be like, a text file that gives you a little bit more information, right? And also along with that, there should be a link to more information about how to install it, how to find it, where to find it. You're going to go to a page called dreamspark.rose.edu and click sign in. You'll have to create a new account or you're going to choose. Why don't we just do that together? Right here, right now. I'm going to go to dreamspark.rose.edu. Now you're not going to download it onto these machines, right? But dreamspark.rose.edu. I'm going to try to sign in. However, I don't have an account yet, so I'm going to choose register. And so I'm going to give them my username, just my email account. Right. No matching account found. Well, that's interesting. Somebody try that and tell me if it lets you get past the register part.
Go to dreamspark.rose.edu, choose register, see if it lets you know. See if it's changed. Might be register.rose.edu, or maybe it's just leaving it open without the app. Okay, confirmation.
Yeah, so enter your raider.rose.edu email address here. And it'll say a confirmation email has been sent. You'll go out to your Gmail account and get it and be able to download it. All righty.